Greetings, scholars. This is Dr. King, and I noticed that for our online course, many times I, prepare our PowerPoint presentations and I give you your readings, but you're never really able to hear my voice. I was going to do a voiceover for our PowerPoint, but I wanted you to be able to click on some of the links, and so I just want to give a short introduction just to make sure that everyone's on the same page and you know exactly what's expected of you for this unit. So we're on module number 6, which is all about assessments. And the the teacher keys that we will be focusing on are Standard 5 and Standard 6, looking at assessment strategies and assessment uses. So you'll look at diagnostic assessments, summative assessments, as well as formative assessments. The key question that I want you to consider as you're going through the activities, as you're going through the readings, is what is the difference between assessment for learning versus assessment of learning? Why are you assessing your children? And the why is what's going to be critical because there's a lot of interconnectivity, I guess, between the formative assessment and your summative assessment. But what it comes down to is the why. Are you assessing them to see what they know in order to inform instruction? Are you assessing them to see what they have learned? Or what is really the purpose behind giving them this assessment? What are you going to do differently based on how they score? And so there are different types of assessments, and you'll be able to read in Paige Keeley's book as well. And I hope everyone bought their book. You'll be able to read some of the different types of formative assessments that she recommends for science. But one key thing that we always have to remember is looking at targets. So you always have, we have our learning targets, we have our learning standards, but children, it's hard for children to know what to hit if they do not know what the target is. When you give them a clear target, they're able to perform at a much higher level and greater proficiency level. And so students can hit any target they can see and that you hold still. So if we're going to use formative assessments to the best of our ability, teachers and students need to know what the target is. And more importantly, they have to know how they can hit that target. And so I'll go through a couple of different examples. I'll go through formative assessments. I'll ask you what are some of the assessments that you currently use in your classroom and how are you using it? Are you using it to test knowledge mastery? Are you using these assessments to test reasoning proficiency or their skills or their ability to create products? What is your reasoning or what is your why for assessing? Another important concept that we have to think about is our questioning. What questioning strategies are you using? Are you thinking about the questions that you're asking before you come into the classroom? Are some of these questions planned? And what we need to do a better job of is just planning our questions. We're not just using, of course you need to have a little bit of flexibility of what happens in the classroom, but for the most part, you should have, the questions planned ahead of time where you want to go because it should lead to that target. And your questions should be of varying tiers, meaning everything should not just be a recall question. Some questions should get kids to really pause and to think deeply. So the questions should go beyond just your factual questions requiring recall or facts or numbers. Okay. And then also looking at discussions. What types of discussions do you have in your classroom? Are you creating a space where kids can talk, where they can talk about the material, where they can grapple with some of the concepts? If you're not, then you need to rethink what you're doing in your classroom. Give them a chance. You shouldn't just be the one giving them all the answers. Give them a chance to grapple with the material and to ask some of the tough questions and to go ahead and research and find some answers. I also talk about graphic organizers, peer assessments, using whiteboards and other formative assessments like Four Corners, Think Peer Shares, conferencing in your classroom. And so I really hope that this module will be helpful to you all. And I look forward to reading your assessment plans that you submit. Enjoy the next couple weeks as you learn about assessments.